Okay, well, since it's all said and done, you know, there's gonna be people that's gonna say that Caitlin Clark is can't be considered one of the greatest because she didn't win a championship. And I didn't really want to start my video quite this way. I kind of want to bring this up more towards the middle or toward the end, but you know what? Let me just address this. I think from the beginning, because I believe I can actually get to more substantive parts of the topic if I deal with this situation. Look, um, I understand what a lot of people's opinion, and particularly some ex-players. Now we can go into debate about whether some of them are jealous or is racial angle to this. Okay, let's just say we put that aside and we look at one factor of the matter, which is that I think personally, and I know that I'm not. I know there'd be a lot of people that disagree, or some people that actually would agree, but I think that it's a little bit unfair to say that a person cannot be one of the greatest if they don't if they don't win a ring. Because you know there's people who have been practically walk-ons in sports who've won a ring who were not star players. So would you take somebody like, let's say, let's think about an old school player. Let's look at somebody like Dominique Wilkins. Would you say, or Bernard King, would you turn around and say, well, that means that Sam Bowie is better than some of them because he was a first round draft pick, right? But what did he accomplish in his career? Or here's a better example. What if you compare them to someone like, okay, Chris Gent, which I think was a guy that played, I think, on the bench for Rockets, won a championship ring. He didn't have an illustrious career. There's a lot of guys that have played on teams who they may have been fortunate enough to be off the bench or whatever the case may be and then win a championship. So would you say that because they won a championship, they're in equal company with somebody like Dominique or somebody like Bernard King or say Alex English? Would they be in the same company with them? Because, well, I got a ring, right? So what I will say is that sometimes I think when a person does not get a ring, and particularly in college basketball in general, college sports in general, you just don't have enough time. You know, now you can go statistically, yeah, we get it, but at the end of the day, and someone said this, and I agree 100%. A lot of I think Caitlin Clark's team had some decent and really good players, but at the end of the day, they were not. A lot of those teams that they were playing against were far more deep talent wise than what they had, especially as far as I think their the people they had on the blocks down there. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that obviously they couldn't be crappy, and we're not saying they're crappy. What I'm saying is, from team to team, you compare what some of these who these people got. You got some real bruisers, some real killers out there on some of these teams, you know, and they talent man for man, they probably weren't, but you know what I mean. A lot of teams were probably better. Now, what I think people need to understand is when you look at the game that Caitlin Clark had against LSU, right? This last game to go to the Final Four, right? Nearly eight. I think the one thing I look at is that okay, Caitlin Clark was responsible for 43% of the points, but not only that, she had look at it this way: she had 41 points and 15 assists, which means in actuality she was involved in about 70 plus points of the score of whatever they scored that night. She was involved in 70 of their points. Now, matter of fact, that means if she was, I think they won what? I think their last score was 87 or something like that. It's like 78, 87, something like that. 87, 78, something like that. That's how the game ended up. Think about it. Think about it. That means she was responsible for over 80% of the total points. That's one person that you have to look at that and say, well, is there that kind of a disproportionate amount of ownership of and responsibility for the offense, like on other teams, you got to make comparisons. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. At least not what I've seen. I'm not a massive college basketball player, especially in women's game anymore. Well, you're used to watch it, but I got a lot of things going on, so I'm not really so much into sports. Maybe business wise, I'll start watching sports more. Somehow, I see that there's some way for me to do that and be active in the business world. I mean, yeah, I may do that. I'm not saying I'm gonna watch them for leisure time either, but I used to. But that's assuming I get that leisure time anytime in the near future. But the point of this video, though, so I don't think it's fair that people say, well, she's not that great because she won a championship. Because to be honest with you, I don't think that Angel Reese, when she does go to pros, is going to be that special. There's a lot of big girls in that league, and definitely girls big enough to deal with her and beat her up. So a lot of times your college game doesn't necessarily translate into the pros. That goes for football, basketball, you name it. You go to the pros, and you're dealing with people position that normally you'd be able to dominate. And those people, you're catching hell from everybody. You know what I mean? These are the pros. These are the best of the best. That's what she's gonna be basically playing against grown, broody women who are hungry for the money that they're getting as it is because they feel like they want to make more, and it's hard enough for the money that they're getting because they're being subsidized by the NBA. There's no profit there. It's just being subsidized by the NBA. That's a fact. Which is sad, but at the end of the day, that means salaries, only some people are going to make so much money. Because think about it, if somebody's basically giving you charity, how much do you, who gets to tell them how much charity that the people getting the charity should get? You know what I mean? Because you got to look at market share. If you're running like an actual business, like you're supposed to be. It's like you have a duty to run a business. When you're running a non-profit organization, that's one thing. You're running a government organization or something along those lines. That's a different story. But guess what? You're actually running a business. You have an obligation to work towards making a profit. Okay? And the WNBA does not make a profit, not even close. So, and this gets to my next point. Okay, you get 4 years in college, right? She played 4 years. Maybe Kelly Clark come back for a fifth year, but I don't think she will. Because look, she got a lot of opportunities right now. If you take a chance as an athlete to getting hurt and maybe potentially have a career-ending injury. So, you've done all these things. Look, she made it to the championship game twice, 2 years in a row. All right. Maybe she, let's just call what it is. Some of these other schools have better recruiting. LSU, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that want to play for Kim Malky. A lot of people that want to play for Dawn Staley. The Iowa coach, I don't even know who she is. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to get technical about it, you could make the case that Iowa's the girls' team was semi-overachievers. So you have to attribute that success, a lot of success, from the fact of having Caitlin Clark on that team. So I think that it may be a bit unfair to say that you don't get to be one of the greatest because you don't win a championship. Maybe it's a little hard to give the grades because you do want to factor that in. Do you have the ability to get a team to winning a championship? But you know what? The thing what I remember is it's still a team sport, and you can't play for each one of those players. And like I said, for playing the position she's playing, I don't know how you can play much better. The girl's good at free throw shooting. The girls can shoot bombs from anywhere on the floor practically. She can pass. I mean, she's made some of those other girls on the team that probably they're better just because of her. All right? So I think that it may be a little unfair to say that you don't get to be one of the greatest. I mean, she's broken all these statistics, and nobody can take that away from her. So, but to get to my point again, because I said I stuttered back, I think Caitlin Clark's got a lot of opportunities right now. It doesn't even matter about the championship game. Yeah, you want to win. You always want to win. But at the end of the day, guess what? She's got a big career ahead of her. She wants it. No matter how long it lasts, she has the opportunity to rake in. And this one I'm going to discuss here in this picture, what you have on the left here, upper left-hand corner, which is Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. Big-time businessman. Big-time money man. Then you got in the lower right-hand corner, Ice Cube, who has been an actor, film director, producer, very successful. You're looking at two very successful men there in the upper left hand and lower right hand corners there. Very successful entrepreneurs. And in the middle here, you got Caitlin Clark. And the reason why I set this picture up like this is to make an overall point here. Caitlin Clark, it doesn't even matter. Caitlin Clark does not have to go to the WNBA. And to be honest with you, just like a lot of other people have said, including Jason Whitlock, one in particular, and even some of these other guys even said, it makes sense for her to go to the 303 league. Because, Ice Cube made an offer for $5 million, which wasn't supposed to get out, but, they admitted to it, right? Think about something. How many WNBA players are making $5 million, or have they even come close to making $5 million their entire career? And people can be jealous of Caitlin Clark all you want to, but Caitlin Clark should not apologize for three things: one, being a female; two, being sought after; and three, being white. Because it's almost like, let's be honest, there's a lot of us that want to discredit her fame on the fact that she's white. And I think that the statistics spell that's a factor. Now, mind you, yeah, the market may have a bigger draw for Caitlin Clark because she fits a particular type of brand, and not that she's going out of her way. She's just being herself. So I don't think people should be holding her responsible for this racial undertone that's going on, because she has not at any step in this process participated in it. And let's be honest, a lot of black folks have participated in that. And you know what? We need to take accountability for it. Because you know what? A lot of people want to put that on her. And she's been smart enough not to fall for it in the draw and do it. Because I can tell you right now, I know there's enough people that if Caitlin Clark says something that is even remotely misconstrued as something biased, some of y'all be quick out here to call her racist. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's be real. So in the reality, this not me sympathizing with white people, but let's be real. Let's just be honest. Sometimes white people, they can't win. They can't win with some of us, or some of us liberals and some of us in the community, because, it's just like when, Emmanuel Acho made a quote unquote non-gender bias or non-race related comment, a gender neutral and a race neutral opinion about Angel Reese's behavior. People wouldn't allow him to do that. Yeah, people sit there saying, well, you can't have an opinion like that because you have to have it in there. First of all, who says? Can we not be objective about anything? Mathematics is not racist. It just is. You either all right or you're all wrong in mathematics. There's no such thing as race, okay? They're just plain numbers. Now, mind you, a person, a human being can corrupt anything, but guess what? When it comes to mathematics and the rules, you can't. That's not just something that you can just make up. It's not, because you have to go from certain steps to get to the next step. There's no way to avoid that. You can't make that up. And the fact of the matter is, I would make the case that Caitlin Clark should maybe take up on all the offers she can get. And I think that these guys here, all right, you got Ice Cube, one offer $5 million to play in 3-on-3 league, right? The big three. Dave Portnoy was talking about wanting to give her $10 million to do his intramural league or whatever he's got going on. So think about it. She has big money offers out there right now. She don't need WNBA. Matter of fact, her money will be all equity. I mean, it's not to say the money the women ain't getting is not considered equity in her hands, but be honest with you, she's literally, Caitlin Clark has the ability to generate her own money, her own revenue, because the market demand for her. That's not her fault. She needs to take advantage of that and relish in it. And y'all who want to, try to discredit her because, the market, the only reason why, listen, it doesn't matter. This is business, folks. And some of us really got to get our head out of our asses to understand how the game gets played. You can't control what the market wants. The culture has certain core values. You can't change them. They're going to value what they're value. The only thing you do as a business person, cater to those values. It's two things a business does. It offers value and it captures value. If Ice Cube was to be able to sign Caitlin Clark to the big three and get her to play and have her in his league, understand how much revenue Ice Cube has potential to make. I don't think any of y'all even remotely understand that. I don't think you do. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Ice Cube and Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, they know. They know. And Jay Portnoy made his little comments. He don't like the fact that some of these people are, not giving Caitlin Clark the, the respect she deserves. They're kind of trying to undermine her accomplishments. He feels like, and you know what? I feel a little bit of there's undertone there too. Now, some people aren't necessarily doing that, but I think there's definitely some clear bias against Caitlin Clark. She didn't ask for it. She happened to be born to be a white female and a very good basketball player. And I'm not trying to say this to make her sound like she's a victim, but let's be honest here. That girl don't have to apologize because she's the best women's basketball player right now, and because she's broken records, she's done all these things. And the market sees, listen, NBA basketball was the same way years ago. Okay, when you had Bird and Magic, y'all don't really think them white folks in Boston weren't giving them brothers hell going there. I tell you right now, a lot of go listen to some of those interviews of the older basketball players. People like James Worthy tell you how folks were to them when the Lakers would come there. They was in there. They was talking. Them white folk were talking shit to them. Oh, they were talking shit. Now I know there's a lot of racism going on in Boston. We know about how some of the Boston fans are because a lot of these NBA players talk about it now, and that's ridiculous. But you know what? A lot of them probably had a little more class about it back then, amazingly enough. Went in their shit talking. Not saying people didn't do it, but I think, people somewhat, they were doing it, yes, but I think that some generations, when it comes to certain things, there people believe in having a certain amount of manners, Maybe not right away, but eventually they did. And the fact of the matter is that, hey, guess what? Those guys went out there and they played their game. Guess what? They got to be mentally tough. The whole thing is Caitlin Clark can go make and generate her own money. Now, whether or not the WNBA or the NBA, see, I don't see that there's any interest in the WNBA or the WNBA people, yes, but I don't see any interest in the NBA being upset about it. I mean, there might be some people trying to push some buttons on the NBA and try to go and nag them into somehow or offering some more money just for her so we can get her. I'm going to tell you something. I don't see why the NBA wouldn't have it. There's no real business interest in the NBA doing that. There's no benefit for them doing that. Let's be honest, because if they're already subsidizing a league that they're not getting anything back for, why would they want to give a separate amount of money for Caitlin Clark? That means if she was going to draft, somebody have to offer her the crowd amount of money. And guess what? You know what the problem is? She's able to get it from other people. And if she can't get it from NBA, from the WNBA, why should she turn down other opportunities for this much money? There's no reason for it, none whatsoever. She still gets to play basketball. She's going to get the fans. Guess what? At the end of the day, this is a business. And being a female, not just a black, white female, but being a female in general in sports, you would think, considering the kind of revenue that men's sports pull in, you should take the opportunities. If you have a big opportunity like Caitlin Clark has, I say she should, hey, got my blessings, run with it. Run with it. And don't give a damn about who don't like it. You work to get where you are, you earned your keep. You got nobody to apologize to. You ain't your job because you got some insecure folks who have an agenda who feel like they're owed to shine over you based on race. And listen, fuck those people. Point blank, period. And that's the sad part, some of us. This is the same thing we fought against, but we're fighting for because it's another white person. I mean, let's just be honest. And I hate to say it because you know what? It's actually pretty disappointing for me as a black man to have to even say that. Well, but again, that is, the dirty laundry people don't want you to air out. Because you know what? Let's be honest. I said this in one of the previous videos. The problem is with some black women, they're upset because they see that, that sports like this, like basketball and the WNBA, it's an opportunity for them to get exposure. But see, here's the problem. You're not running a business model to make profit. You're running it on feelings and emotions. So in a lot of ways, you're running a business from an emotional standpoint, okay? And that's the problem. Y'all feel you're entitled to more because you gave so much to the sport, and you should be getting this money, and you should be getting the exposure and all stuff. But guess what? You can't force people to give you your money. You can't force people to give them for them to give you their money. So this is what it comes down to. Because some people complain about, Ice Cube, why did he ask Angel Reese and this and that? Because, of course, again, down low, why did you ask a sister instead of this white girl? I got news for you. Money is only one color, green. At the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, listen, let's be real, black folks. You don't get to be a billionaire in this country as a black person but by only getting black money, you don't. And it's not the black entrepreneurs' fault. It is our fault as a community. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's just keep it real. Because no matter what we say, guess what? We do not invest in our own communities. We don't. You got a lot of stuff that goes on where there's money constantly going out of the community. Listen, we could spend money in our community, just say a little bit more, and you'd see some benefit. But the black community, we talk about group economics. See, the thing is, you either have a situation where you got black folks that's jealous of other black folks that don't want to see something. We got that crabs and barrel mentality, the HNIC complex, or whatever the case is, whatever ego or self-esteem issues that we got that we project on each other, right? So instead of actually saying, hey, this is the best, we need to support that person because they're going to represent all of us, and that's going to elevate all of us. When we would say rising tides lifts all boats, if that person's the rising tide that's going to lift all us up, why not feed that rising tide? Why try to tear it down? Prime example, you got Draymond Green, who has been a menace in the NBA as of lately, even to his own team, throwing shade on Ice Cube trying to get this deal, and him trying to throw messages to Kellen Clark. Oh, don't fall for it. Oh, you can get so much more. And so again, this is one of those cases where you know what, we can't talk about white supremacy when we're the main participants of going against each other. Okay, we can't. I mean, it's not to say that it don't exist. Yes, it exists, but at the end of the day, when you participate in it, who are you to complain about it? You know, when you basically say, okay, you're gonna kill that nigga, you're gonna rob that nigga. When you have that kind of gangster thug street attitude, which that you have no problem, taking down or putting something, what I'm saying, giving a brother or sister a dirt nap over the fact that somebody got $2 more in their pocket. Come on, man. No group of people can get anywhere with that type of mentality. Let's just call it what it is. And I'm, of course, not broad brush the entire community, but let's be real, folks. There's way too many of us that operate and think just like that. Let's just be real. And that is a cultural pathology, and that is a cancer. And at the end of the day, here is you got a girl who, I mean, that girl can play some ball. Okay, I'll give her full props. That girl can bomb the three, and let's be real. I haven't seen very many women in college basketball that shoot threes, shoot bombs from way out there in the freaking rafters like she does. Okay, I'm not saying some haven't. Of course, there's some that are. There's never all of anything. So let's not play the game absolutes. There's no such thing as that, at least for the most part. So let's not be intellectually honest. So don't act like you don't know what I'm saying. But the reality of it is, this girl has, by herself, made Iowa probably put Iowa on the map, at least girls college basketball, on a higher level than they've ever been in that school's history. So guess what? That's saying a lot, folks. That's a Division I school, and this girl is gonna be in the Hall of Fame in that school. I'm pretty confident of that. I can tell you right now, she's going to be in the Hall of Fame for Howard University because she got the records to back it up. Now, you can say that doesn't make her great all you want. But you know what? You can be individually great. But the whole thing is, everybody knows a championship is a team sport. And you can do only so much as one person. And if you're in college, you only got 4 years to do it. You've got guys that didn't get the championship ring. Think about it. John Elway of the Denver Broncos went to at least 2 or 3 Super Bowls before he won 2. Okay. And I'm big. I mean, listen, I'm a Giants fan, but I can tell you when it comes to quarterback, I say that my all-time favorite quarterback is probably John Elway. I like some other quarterbacks that were good. I know some of the good ones, and I respect them too. But John Elway, because you know what? I respected John Elway's grit, his toughness as a quarterback, and the leadership that he displayed for his team. Because he didn't have. Well, again, that's another case where what are you going to say? You're going to say John Elway wouldn't have been great because he didn't win a Super Bowl? John Elway went to about 3 Super Bowls before he won his first 2. So that means John Elway's got at least 4 or 5 Super Bowls under his. He's been to at least 4 or 5 Super Bowls. He's lost at least 2 or 3 and won 2. All right. John Elway was a great quarterback. Maybe you can make the case. Okay, well, because Tom Brady has recently got the most rings, this and that. But in my book, as far as who I liked Because my number one team was the Giants, but Denver Broncos was probably my second favorite team. Or one, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, just because of John Elway, though. And he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game, regardless if you want to compare him to who, Tom Brady, who people want to consider the greatest. He's still one of the greatest. Joe Montana's one of the greatest. Joe Namath's one of the greatest. You know what I mean? Some people got more past that's help. Peyton Manning's one of the greatest. Dan Marino's one of the greatest. But guess what? Just because somebody has maybe a higher stature or more rings doesn't take away from their greatness. They're still great in their own right. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. And I think the same thing applies here for Caitlin Clark. She has a massive opportunity that no women's basketball player has ever had. There's a lot of jealousy there. Let's be honest, guys. She's well softer. She's gonna get commercials. She's gonna get. Look, she make money from NIL. She make money from. Hell, let's be real. Ice Cube and Dan Portnoy, they can both get separate contracts from her. Like Dan Portnoy can have his league a certain time of the year, and then Ice Cube have his league a certain time of the year, and then she can be under contract with both of them and make money on both of them. So she can make. Come on, let's be real. She can make freaking. Look, Dan Portnoy might have more money than Ice Cube, but guess what? Ice Cube can offer enough money for her time. But either way, I think that, in my opinion, they should both work together and both try to get a piece of that pie. I don't think one should try to shot at the other, because I would personally want to talk about as far as the racial or the cultural aspect of it, because guess what? I'm not a black person that just believes in black. I believe in being a foundational black American. We got to have that delineation. We're not just a race. We're an ethnic group. We have our own unique experience. We're not Haitian. We're not Caribbean. We're not African. We are foundational black Americans. We're descendants of American slaves. And that's what Ice Cube is. And I would like to see our brother succeed. Because you know what? He's hardworking. He's had to fight against the machine to get in there. And if he's not part of the club, as he says, that's facts. And that's one thing they don't like about him, because he won't sell his ass to get in with them guys to get a couple of them. No, he wants to be his own man. And you know what? I 100% respect that. We need more black entrepreneurs like that. They're not willing to kiss ass or try to be buddies with certain elites because they need to get okay from them to get to make money. No, he's saying no. I'm busted through the door here, and I'm not gonna have no apologies about it. And I think that we all should respect and appreciate that attitude. You should want Ice Cube to get a contract. See, there's a lot of us. That's the problem with a lot of us, okay? We talk out both sides of our mouth. One way you say you want black folks to succeed. And here's a problem. I'm going to just point this out. It seems to me that nobody wants to see black men succeed, including black women as a whole. Let me just call it what it is. Everybody's so worried about Angel Reese and what all these other women got to say and them being offended and all this other stuff, and having these white liberal females writing articles talking about how that the face of basketball has got to be through black women. And this kind of nonsense is not going to help us, people. If we live in a meritocracy, because hell, the black community's got to be one of the biggest meritocracies as it is. But we don't want one when it comes to the women, or we want to give them some favor. Look, the black men, come on. Most of the times we want to throw shade on black men, and then when they're doing so much, then we want to pull up dirt on them. Come on. We know this is what happens. So, but you know what? Nobody wants to be honest about it. Everybody likes to try to pretend like that ain't the case, when that is in fact the case too many times. You have some brothers out here that try to do some good things, only to not just be taken down by people outside the community, but particularly people inside their own community. Look at our history. A lot of our organizations, our black empowerment organizations, were destroyed from within by our own people. So we need to learn the lessons from history and racial politics, historically, how we've been dismantled and been infiltrated by our own people. That's tearing us down, tearing down our organizations. Come on, you have people like Darther Perry. That was one of the biggest agents for COINTELPRO back with the FBI. And quite a few others. So we're worried about, if she was this way, she would do that. No, listen. Caitlin Clark has an opportunity where she can actually help elevate probably the WNBA just based off of her marketing. But guess what? There's so much jealousy there. There's so much identity politics in the NBA. It's not worth it. I'm telling you. It ain't worth it for her, in my opinion. And Caitlin Clark, if you ever see this video, you know what, girl? I wish the best for you, and I wish the best of all your endeavors, just like anybody else. black, white, or orange or purple or any other color. But here, because you've earned the success you have. But what I'm gonna say to you is, don't let people's jealousy and false sense of entitlement sway you into minimizing who you are. Don't do it because they're not owed that, and you deserve better. They want to be where you are. They need to work for it like you work to get where you are. I don't care what color they are, man, woman, or beast. And the reality of it is whether or not some of your marketability is earned or not. A lot of times, marketability isn't always earned anyway. You just fit a certain mold that maybe there's a certain demographic or market segment wants to cater to. You shouldn't have to apologize for that. If you just happen to be this down home, plain Jane white girl from the Midwest or whatever, and everybody just a working class people, and y'all just take care of each other, and that's what they want to support, then they have every right to. It's their money. They don't owe any apology to anybody. That's what we got. That's a lot of us got to get off of. You know, we got to get off of that. Look, there's a lot of money for her to make. There's a lot of money for you to make, Caitlin Clark, because at the end of the day, I don't think the WNBA would do you any justice. As a matter of fact, it's very good potential for them to ruin your career there. That you might get put in a position or be on a team where you never really get to go anywhere. You definitely gotta watch what kind. You have a good agent and good lawyers who sign no bullshit contract. Even if you do. And the thing about, and this has been said this by Angel Reese just on the sidebar. If Angel Reese is so marketable as she was, selling herself for the entire year, why don't she take advantage of some other deals? Because I'm telling you, she probably make more money for a better idea when that's going to be over with. But she's entering the draft, so you know that tells you a lot. She's not getting. So that tells me that Angel Reese is probably not getting that big offers like Caitlin Clark is. I can probably guarantee it. So what Caitlin Clark should do and do something unprecedented. Go for what's going to benefit you. I'm not saying you don't want to play on a team that you don't want to beat or anything like that. I think that's all well and good if you do that. Because you know what? You can basically help to boost up the businesses of Dave Portnoy and Ice Cube, and you could actually end up being a potential part owner. Okay? And then folks can talk all the smack, throw all the shade they want. You can laugh at them all the way to the bank. A lot of us need to learn something from this, man. Understand that Ice Cube is not a sellout. Ice Cube is a businessman. And he's doing what makes sense. See, if we're really trying to support black people like some of us black, quote unquote, black folks claim, why can't you celebrate a black man if he gets a contract with Caitlin Clark that's going to make him a lot of money? Why can't you congratulate and celebrate that? But no, it's not all about that. That's the truth of the matter. It's not all about that. That's what we want to portray. But at the end of the day, it's something a little bit more hideous with some of us. And you know what? I don't suggest that Ice Cube should be held to that standard. I don't think that Dave Portnoy, I mean, you might not agree with some things he said. Some things I don't necessarily agree with what he said in the past. He was never a big fan, first of all, Angel Reese, after what happened at the end of last year when they beat him in the championship. He was one of the ones that was outspoken about that, thought that was just classless, basically. He was one of the people most discussed about it. He got some criticism about that, but you know what? Let's be honest. Again, I think there's a false close between what they want to claim that Caitlin Clark did and what Angel Reese did, because yeah, she did you can't see me, but again, context matters. Did she do it to her team? No, at least not any evidence I've seen. Did she actually do it to Angel Reese? Never seen any evidence of the sort, because I believe that if there was, there'd be a video out here all over the place. See, we told you guys. I haven't seen one yet. So, I don't recall, unless somebody can show me a video of Caitlin Clark following anybody around the court either. Because let's be honest with you, people keep leaving that factor out. Angel Reese literally followed Caitlin Clark around the court. Now, it wasn't just taunting, it was harassment also. When you are following somebody to taunt them, you're going out of your way. That's harassment. See, a lot of us so-called pro-blacks that want to defend Angel Reese somehow keep conveniently leaving that out. Okay? Angel Reese is making money. Angel Reese is one of the best college basketball players out there. She was the second plus player on that court that night when they lost. and actually she was pretty impressive as far as the position she played and the things she did. She showed me she had a more all-around game than I thought she had. So you know what? The same way too. I mean, Acho gave her credit for her game too. Okay, everybody left that part out, but the thing is, the only thing they heard was him criticizing her and saying that she needed to stop playing the victim, which he was 100% right. Like I said in the previous video. So, guys, we should look at it this way: that this is a business, and I think that would be to any, not just Caitlin Clark, but anybody, any female who has the opportunity to be this marketable, to where you're going to get these opportunities and these deals, these contracts that you know you're not going to make in WNBA. I would say that, in my opinion, it's kind of Caitlin Clark's duty to go and do what the best thing is for her. Technically, because this is not the NBA. We're talking about the WNBA, which again is a subsidized organization and doesn't make profit. They're only going to pay you so much money, and even then, guess what? You can go do these other things and decide to go to the WNBA later. But they're going to say, no, we're not going to take you. You know what I'm saying? Either way, you'll make more money. There's a good chance you make more money than a lot of them will ever make in their career. Playing NBA, girls have been playing for 10 years, been scraping for their money. This girl comes in here and she makes, who knows, tens of millions of dollars, $100 million, maybe over a period of a few years, possibly, depending on what type of business endeavor she gets involved in, what things she does herself, what brands that she becomes part of, and what ownership she starts to gain and amass over time. So, guys, you know what? Don't be jealous. Get to work. Put your feelings aside and think about how entrepreneurship really works. Caitlin Clark should take this opportunity to make that money and do what's best for her, for herself, and her family. Point blank, period. And again, I think that she would be better off, but ultimate decision is up to her. And what other, people who she consults with advice for her family, it's up to them what decision they make as a family, what she makes for herself. But I think that honestly, I think that she has a once in a lifetime opportunity. She take it, and I'm telling you, I don't think that the WNBA. I think the WNBA will be there when she's not there. When she goes back, they'll still be there, or they'll be gone. But at the end of the day, guess what? You didn't miss nothing if they're gone. So at the end of the day, I think that the WNBA will be there when we get there. These are key opportunities, and here's an opportunity to maybe challenge some of these big businesses. In all honesty, which they don't want. But guess what? This would be an unprecedented move here. And Caitlin Clark has a chance to make history in more ways than one. I think she should take that opportunity. I'm out.